It appears that Milei's decision to distance his country from China might turn out to be fatal. Why do I say so? Well, China, one of the main trade partners with Argentina, has decided to put on hold a $6.5 billion currency swap agreement between the two. Could this be a deliberate tactic to force Milei to reconsider his deviation from existing agreements with China? Let us find out. Milei campaigned and secured his victory in the Argentinian presidential race on the breakaway from China mantra. But why would he go against China? And why did the people of Argentina resonate with his campaign message? Argentina has been going through a financial crisis year in, year out. The people seem to have given up hope with the usual people in the leadership, and the emergence of an outsider seemed to speak directly to the cries of many people's hearts. Milei appeared to understand what ails Argentina, and many believe he holds what it takes to fix the problems in the country. From persistent hyperinflation, the ever-depreciating currency to the escalating international debt crisis, Argentinians hope that this man can shoulder it all. But what many people in Argentina seem to miss is the messaging in his campaigns. He consistently advocated decoupling with China and mending ties with Washington. But why would he want to break away from China? Breaking away from China, as highlighted by the foreign ministry in China, would be a huge mistake. Contrary to the prevailing sentiment, what many people need to know is that China has been a friend indeed for Argentina, rather than an untrustworthy partner who should be discarded, particularly in the recent past. For instance, in June and July 2023, China came to the rescue of Argentina and intervened to avert Argentina's default on a substantial IMF loan amounting to $43 billion, indicating China's readiness to extend a helping hand when it mattered most. Not only that, China has also revolutionized the country's landscape by investing in key infrastructure projects in Argentina. The Asian giant has injected billions of dollars into Argentina through strategic projects, including lithium and solar power plants north of Argentina, and a space station in Patagonia, with ongoing crucial projects such as a nuclear power plant and a port in Tierra del Fuego in the south. And to top it all, China fought hard to ensure Argentina's inclusion into the BRICS bloc became a reality. With all these positive and impactful projects catalyzed by China's presence in Argentina, one is left to wonder, why would President Javier Milei push for severing ties with the Asian giant, especially when these collaborative projects are leaving an undeniable impact on Argentina's development and progress? But one doesn't have to look far to see who is influencing his policies. The culprit lies just next door, America. The US, as we all know, has been against the expansionist agenda of the Chinese. China's entry into South America is seen by the US as both a challenge to its influence in the region and a national security threat. Therefore, the US must employ every trick in the book to deter Chinese influence in this region. Hence, it becomes easy for us to draw parallels here. Milei's policy bears semblance to the US policies of trying to contain China. The US no doubt seems to take advantage of Argentina's bleak situation to win this nation's leadership to its side. We have all heard that Milei intends to do away with the country's currency peso and substitute it with the US dollar. This can't happen without substantial collaboration with the country that prints the bills, the US. Hence, one cannot help but notice the discernible imprint of US influence on the policies and decision-making process in this nation. But would Milei risk his country's currency sovereignty? Well, doing away with pesos will not be a walk in the park. Javier Milei lacks a congressional majority which he desperately needs if his government agendas are to sail through. With only 38 members in Congress out of a total of 257 and a meager 7 senators out of 72, Milei faces an uphill battle in garnering the legislative support necessary for his ambitious plans. To make matters even worse, the man whom Milei had hoped to appoint as head of the central bank to oversee the dollarization process has declined the appointment. The possibility of Milei pushing through sweeping structural reforms, including the bold step of dollarization, appears increasingly elusive. Rewinding to the Chinese currency swap, initially designed to fortify imports and fulfill obligations to the IMF, sheds light on a pivotal promise made by China to Argentina's former economic minister, Sergio Massa, back in October. As the main contender against Milei, Massa's defeat ushered in a new era of uncertainty, particularly with Milei's startling policy proposals. The Chinese, in the wake of Milei's rise, now view his leadership with a skeptical eye. There are speculations that China, sensing the unpredictability, has chosen to tap the brakes on the $6.5 billion commitment until a semblance of stability is restored, presumably in China's strategic interest. China and Argentina first entered into a currency swap agreement in 2009, initially valued at 70 billion yuan and subsequently expanded to 130 billion yuan in 2018. However, President Javier Milei's government has exhibited a reluctance to renew this significant accord. If Javier chooses to plunge his country into the China-US economic tussle, Argentina will have itself to blame. And most importantly, the US is not known to have pulled anyone out of a dire situation. Actually, any help from the US always comes with a cost attached. Is Milei ready for this? I guess not. On the other hand, China is the only lifeline for this country. Breaking ties with China is a potential disaster in waiting. Stripped of the crucial $6.5 billion financial cushion, Argentina would be thrust into the precarious territory of renegotiating its staggering $44 billion debt with the IMF, a difficult endeavor by all measures. The grim reality is clearly depicted by Argentina's staggering year-on-year inflation rate of 143%, and with the IMF having intervened in the country's economy 22 times since 1958, the current outlook appears far from promising. Likewise, the path to dollarization appears to have hit a blockade, leaving Argentina with no recourse but to embrace local solutions that are optimal anyway. But what is the current outlook of China-Argentina relations? China is Argentina's second-largest trading partner and the largest market for its agricultural product, with soybeans being one of the major exports to China. The scope of China's investments in Argentina spans a multitude of sectors, including technology, energy transition, medical advancements, mining, food, strategic infrastructure, and collaborative space initiatives. Notably, Argentina, with the third-largest proven lithium reserves globally after Chile and Australia, attracts lots of interest from the Chinese. Lithium has a huge demand back in China, as it is a critical component in battery manufacturing, cementing Argentina's strategic significance in the global supply chain. As a result, bilateral trade between China and Argentina is experiencing an upward trajectory. The figures for 2022 reveal a substantial increase, with trade between the two nations reaching $21 billion, marking a significant 20% year-on-year growth. Now, if Javier continues with his future pro-US policies and reorients Argentina towards the West, we could witness the country go down to an even worse situation than its current state.